I celebrated the new year with new friends, my French-Canadian boat neighbors, who had the fun idea of trying to water ski. With some rope, a plastic tube, and a surfboard. It's hard to balance on a small surfboard, to hold the handle, and not to slip off the bare gel coat all at once. And then he has to try to stand up. That's the hard part. Funny when it pops out the back. I need like medium speed. I don't need to be that fast because I need to. When you get to the plane, it's like I'm too heavy or something because I can't even hold on with my grip. So it needs to be like a little medium speed, and that would be good. Despite the festivities and the holidays, my mood has been very much somber as of late. Things I think about daily: resilience, community. As a person who lives on a sailboat full time, resilience to me means waking up each day, caring for my vessel, making sure that the vessel takes care of me. That means keeping her afloat. That means making sure all the systems are working. And that's a resilience. I respect resilience in others when I see it. I am in awe of the resilience of Palestinian people who, despite the whole West, the Western world seems to be shitting on them. You have a population of people who are trapped in a place. I can reflect on that and see that, for us, travel is something we can just pick up anchor and we can move, and the weather is a factor, and bureaucracy is a factor of new countries, of borders we cross, and money is a factor for how much freedom we have. But that's very different. I respect the resilience that I see every day. I see other creators. I see creators coming out of that part of the world, content creators sharing from that part of the world. I can't even understand how somebody would get internet at this point in a place that the majority of the infrastructure, the majority of buildings have been bombed. I don't even understand. That would be my first question right now to my fellow content creators in that part of the world, is how do you manage to find the internet? And I know there's a couple tricks, but I still am in awe every day when I see from them that they've posted that they found internet, that they're able to actually still communicate with the outside world despite the attempt to erase them from the face of the planet. Like, that's resilience. I see no better use of the word. I think that I see a resilient people, and I don't feel that there's any more I can do than acknowledge that. I think about community a lot. You may be surprised to hear that as a person who lives on a sailboat, community may not seem like a real thing. People envision community as their little cul-de-sac of houses and little white picket fences and cars driving up and down the laneway. But community is strong on sailboats. I think we all have the shared everybody who has lived full-time on a boat has experienced that, and they see how important community is. You get fast-tracked into community when maybe you're new to boating and you experience your first emergency on the boat, whether that be an anchoring problem, a docking problem, anything that any of the endless things that can go wrong. You start to see right away that your neighbors, anybody else who is out on a boat, is there to help right away. They can empathize easily. I think empathy is strong within the boating community, and that makes the community strong. You may not live next to your neighbors for very long. You may constantly move around as a person on a boat, but you definitely feel the strong connection to others whenever you see them, or in this modern day of communication technology, you stay in touch with other people in your community easily. It's a stronger community than any community I've felt, say, renting an apartment in an apartment building. That's for sure. I get the feeling like many of our viewers feel that freedom is important to them, and I just wanted to express what that means in terms of a person who lives on a boat full time. Freedom was an ideal before we ever left on our first sailboat on my way, for example. Freedom meant we can try to travel. We can try to see how far this boat will take us. Testing that freedom, testing how far we can go, testing ourselves, pushing forward, literally progressing forward in every way possible to a new place, to explore, to adventure. And we found along the way that there are factors, especially money. Economically, we don't feel free, Robbie and I, but that's obviously different from the extreme challenges to freedom that other people have in the world. They don't have the freedom to wake up, have a cup of tea, not feel like their life is in danger. From the vantage point of someone who's escaped standard North American society, an enduring thought I have is, we can do better. I'm just here trying to carve out a living with what I have available to me. When I brought the panes of glass to fit them to the window frame, I found that the fit was not perfect. Using a small Dremel tool with a metal bit would take way too long and probably wear down the bit completely. So for the glass to sit in here, I still need to take off 1/2 centimeter, or maybe 1/4 centimeter up here and 1/4 centimeter down. But either way, it wasn't cut perfectly to the size of the glass, so I gotta take off all the way to this line that I etched in here. There's quite a bit of material still to take off. Sometimes you gotta try something new, a different tool to progress forward. I clean the area as usual because it's epoxy time. For the final sanding before I paint, I'm going to do it with wet sandpaper so that I don't have as much dust. .180 grit sandpaper in preparation for paint. This time around, I'm applying the remainder of our 2-part Total Boat barrier coat, which is a nice sturdy primer type paint that will protect the epoxy and the wood for now until another inevitable paint job down the road. Now that the windows were all prepared to take the panes of glass, I would need to build outer frames out of teak to hold the glass in. The remaining teak from our dinghy gunnels would be the perfect size and shape to do this. I would only need to cut the strips of teak to the right length. And then sand the strips down. Sanding the teak really brings out the natural beauty of this local wood, as well as makes it pleasant to the touch, and it makes sure that there will be zero chance of me getting splinters from the wood. I drilled the first holes to attach the teak from the inside of the boat. So I need a clamp to keep this piece of wood in place so that I can put a notch on the wood from the inside so that I drill from the inside. I did borrow some clamps, albeit pretty large ones. The more I try to do something, the more it rains. If I don't work, it's not going to rain as much, I promise you. I tried doing this work on one of the many usual drizzly days, and it was simply not the right weather to get this task done. Hey, Dad. However, one beautiful sunny day that finally arrived, I was able to cut out all the strips to size, clamp them to the window frame, drill out the holes to insert the screws, and to dry fit the whole thing together. What only remains now is to place the glass inside with sealant, but this was a task that I knew that I should not do alone if I wanted good results. This is something that we would need to do together as a team. On one of these many very rainy days, while I was collecting drinking water, a good Samaritan tried to empty out my dinghy that was also collecting lots of rainwater and ended up flipping it. Don here at the marina helped me to make sure that there was no water inside my 2.5 horsepower Suzuki outboard. First, we drained the fuel, which was pretty old and yellow looking, but there were no signs of water separating out from the fuel. We used the air compressor to push out any of that lingering water that might be hiding within the case, and opened up the spark plug to see if there was any signs of water in there. Then Don gave me some brand new gasoline.
Tell me what I can do.
Maybe
Hold the
when I bring the dinghy into place, you can just hold this up.
Pull the motor up?
Yeah.
Got it. Here's where your strength training comes in handy.
Exactly. Yes. The engine worked well for several days, but then it started to peter out and stop at low revs. Another boat neighbor of mine offered to help check if there were any clogs in the carburetor, which mixes air and gasoline.
Here's the carburetor over here. So what we have to do is take these two main bolts off here.
Yeah.
And this little air cleaner thing out of the way. And everything that's happening is happening right in there. Goes in there, and that's a keeper. So unsnap the keeper. It's typical. Most boats, outboards have a similar version of that. gotta
They
take
made
that
it so
off,
you
too.
can't take things off.
Well, you can. We just have to take
Yeah, this whole
This off, see?
spring-loaded thing is holding everything in.
just that.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to take the whole thing off. Let's see.
Yeah,
what we,
that thing needs to be out of the way.
Well, let's see what we can get at from this thing then.
So there's two sides to it. So
Well-
we're gonna tackle it from this side now.
We need that wrench again.
There are two ways to get into the carburetor, I found out. We tried from this side first. First, our focus was to make sure that the fuel could get through the small jet and other small holes which can really easily get small pieces of debris in them.
Look.
If there's something inside of it, even the tiniest little piece.
Oh, Christ. You know, a piece of fly shit.
Yeah.
As small as that is.
Because he did it to see if it was really.
So you're going in all the crevices,
Well, there are
moving parts,
holes.
holes. And watch your eyes, because I can see it splashes back up at you. Yeah. You got in there from the tub side. No, what was it? The bowl side. And gave it a spray down. Then we closed everything back up.
You don't have to go crazy, make it tight, but it should, snug, but there.
Okay, so this little bicycle shifting thing just needs to go back on. And the choke, which is the metal lever. She started up immediately. But the revs were fairly high at minimum throttle. So my neighbor showed me how to adjust the speed of the revs by unscrewing that little screw with the spring on it.